Oh, well, hello, and welcome back to the Shadow Side with Safrianna. We are officially in season 2 of the recording season. We have arrived. It is wild to have completed a full arc of season 1 and feel really complete with it, and to be entering this new chapter, this new season, with just a renewed sense of energy. As we begin recording here live, we have just entered the year of the fire horse, and we are galloping ahead with all the shadows and light here. It is a great time. We're also in eclipse season. It's a lot. So I am here back with my dear friend, Dr. Melissa Bird, to kick off season 2. She also helped me kick off season 1. You know her, you love her if you're in my world, because she's all in my world. We do so many wonderful things together. So for today, would you be so kind as to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Melissa Bird. I live in Corvallis, Oregon. I'm a descendant of the Shifwitz band of Paiutes. And I'm laughing because I feel like when you described galloping into the year of the fire horse, I'm like hanging off the saddle, like a cartoon whipping up against the horse.
Yeah, we're in the beginning stretch, we'll call it, of getting our little horse legs. Like, we're just little babies right now.
No,
And
I'm
we're
hanging off the saddle. I'm not a baby. I'm hanging off the saddle like getting whipped by the ground. There's no baby action here.
No baby action on your end. So
Not on my end.
oh my gosh, yes. However we're relating to this new year, right? It is something. We have kicked off in a special way, and our topic today is imagining our way through the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
The power of imagination and creativity. And that's why we got to laugh and we got to play and we got to be real, because it is just a cluster out here right now for humanity, as it kind of always has been, but our own special current brand of cluster.
Yes.
So, Dr. Bird, tell me a little bit about imagination. You know, I always pitch to my guests, what would you like to talk about? And this was a topic you were really excited about, just this idea of imagination being a very powerful, radical tool for these times. And I would love to really hear your perspective on that.
I love how you're like, this was your choice. And I'm like,
it was past you's choice. Is current you questioning your choice and topic?
always. I always am. No, I seriously though. I have been thinking a lot about imagination because I feel like, you know, as we're recording this on Monday, February 23rd, 2026, there's so much going on in the world. And I think that I've been really drawn to playing with my imagination a lot and really thinking about the world that I do imagine, right? Like, not just for me, but for our communities and for the planet. And I've been thinking a lot about, you know, I remember, man, the worlds I could create when I was a little kid, like whether it was me laying on the grass listening to my Fisher-Price record player playing Grease over and over again, or like playing with my Barbie dream house, or whatever it was, like, you know, writing my little stories and laying around and just imagining a world that existed outside of the world I was currently living in, right? And I think as we grow up and grow older, we lose that, like that whimsy of imagination. And so part of the reason I think this is such an interesting thing to think about is that I feel like we're really, I mean, I know for me, but I think for other people too, like we're really being called into this imaginary space. And we get told as adults that you can't go into it because that's not practical, it's not pragmatic, it's not responsible, it's not mature. But I actually think that if we were more willing to get into our imagination and imagine a world outside of ourselves that is really radically whimsical, we can find those arcs of reality to call them into our regular everyday lives. And I mean, I know that now I am imagining many different things as an adult and with what I know, right, in 51 years of living. But I do feel like there is this creative, potent space that opens up when we allow our imagination to run wild.
Yes, and we need that magic right now more than ever
Mhm.
to inspire us through these challenging times. The the whimsy, I love that you brought up whimsy. The whimsy gives us something of a light anchor
Yeah.
in the times that feel so heavy.
Mhm.
And as you were just talking, I'm over here making my own connections to where I'm at in life right now as I'm getting ready to write my second novel in my sci-fi series and unhooking from literally everything of my past and everything of the American dream and everything of the shoulds.
Mhm.
And responsibility is a part of that because I was told repeatedly as a child that it wasn't responsible to be creative,
Right.
that writing books and telling stories and making pretty art was not responsible. That was not productive enough. It wasn't consumable enough, quickly
Mhm.
enough, etc. And I think so many of us are facing those shadows of those stories that we were raised with that and that pervade in dominant society. We're continuing to see art be removed from so many things
Mhm.
because there's this over focus on being productive and responsible and doing and giving and thus going into extraction, all that. So to allow ourselves to return to our creativity is immensely healing. And it helps us process our shadows and the darkness in a different way instead of taking it out on each other.
Well, and I think what's interesting about what you're saying is, you know, yeah, yes, and if you're a man, it's totally fine. Like if you're Beethoven, hell, go on and be creative all day. If you're Leonardo da Vinci, have at it, bud.
True
Like
that.
if you are this creative force that is also a man, then by all means, let's give you a couple of grants and sell your paintings for millions of dollars and to continue to listen to Chopin as much as we can, right? Like I think it's also like the message that we have. Oh, and white too, because you got to be white too.
Yep.
Like like for for people of color and for women and for LGBTQ plus people, that art is reserved, talent and consumption is reserved for a certain class of people, right? And I think that these messages that we aren't allowed to be artistic, we aren't allowed to be creative, we aren't allowed to write our stories. It's why women for so long wrote under a pen name because they wanted to get published, right? And if you tried to publish as a woman, then the book world wasn't having it. And I think undoing those things as a measure of creativity is really part of this revolutionary act of defiance, right? Like I think we this rebellion that we are being called to right now. I actually shared something on Instagram or something. The guy who makes balloon art and like writes out full sentences and puts them on walls. He's from Portland. Um who who knew?
Who
Uh
knew?
it was one of the ones I just shared was like, this is the machine you're supposed to be raging against. Like if you were looking for it, it has appeared. And I just think there's such a radical it's such a radical act to engage in creation at this moment, especially as we are policing people's bodies in a way that we certainly haven't experienced. I haven't experienced it in my lifetime anyway, even with all the laws and like we're just taking it to a whole new level. And so I think that engaging in creativity isn't just about addressing the darkness in our own lives, but it's also it gives us a way forward in the collective as a whole. And it is a radical act of defiance. And I think what we are really being called to are radical acts of defiance.
Yeah. And with my writing is radical acts of defiance. I write about rebellion and revolution and the spiritual awakening of the world.
Yeah.
And like I feel like that's really needed right now. And it's scary, But this is what I was sitting with just the other day. I literally almost burst into tears. I was there, and I had this realization. I was like, Safrianna, if you do not start writing now
Mhm.
and continue writing now, you're never going to have the opportunity to fully express all of these things that your soul came here to express.
Yeah.
And the emotion just washed through me, and I like wanted to just weep. Um, but I had things I needed to get up and do. And then we go back to the responsibility, right? And this is where it's like, no, that's the prompting. These are the things our souls call us to do, is to create and express in some way. For you, it might not be writing. I'm speaking not to Dr. Bird here. I'm speaking to the general you, because Dr. Bird obviously is a prolific writer. Uh, but we all have our own specific ways that we're here to create and to express. And when we are instead trying to hold the line of being productive and like keeping the system afloat as it is, which is allowing only one class and one type of people to have the freedom, the real freedom
Yeah.
to pursue these things. Because I'm over here questioning my own freedom
Mm,
right now
mm,
as we are actively speaking in this moment. Like
mm,
me writing about the topics that I write about,
mm.
that's like getting people arrested right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and what a radical response to the Epstein files,
Uh-huh.
especially as these quote unquote soul gurus, you
Mm.
know, Deepak Chopra and all these other people are starting to come out in the files. I've been listening to a podcast about John of God, and like for us to engage with our soul calling without having to have these very um very predatory people tell us how to express our souls and what our soul is here to do.
Yes.
um like that is also such a radically beautiful life-giving response to what is coming out with the Epstein files. And I think that I've been reading a lot from like Lissa Rinkin and some other folks talking about how devastated they are to learn that that these people, and I'm not surprised at all personally.
I was not either, and
I was like,
I'm literally writing
that,
about it.
that fits, but like, and I think this is really important for people to hear. Like, your soul is here. Wayne Dyer said this all the time. Not to quote Wayne Dyer because he also is kind of a weenie, but your soul is here to have a human experience, right? And so if that is true, which I think that's true, whether it's Wayne Dyer saying it or somebody else, like I do believe that's true. Like, our soul is here to have a party and have the full experience of humanity, like the good, the bad, the ugly. That I think that falls way in line with my spiritual beliefs and also my religious beliefs. Like, I believe that the soul is here to be like, whoa, what are we doing here? This is amazing. Like, this human thing, this is so rad. Like, and it sucks and it's awesome all at the same time. Like, before we started recording, you were like, how are you? And I'm like, I have no idea. Like, I have no idea how I am today. Like, it just, yesterday I was like sitting in front of the fire at church and people were talking to me and it was warm and it was beautiful. And I was like, I'm so happy right now. I even posted it on Facebook. I was like, I'm so happy. Like, I'm legit happy. And by the afternoon, I was like, what in the fucking tornado have I walked in? I feel like I'm in the middle of a dust bowl. And like, it was just like,
Yep.
and boy, what a human experience, right? To like, and rather than taking this moment and we have to fall apart. It's great. Like,
Yep.
go into the spaces where you have to have your fall aparts and be, sad and lonely and angry and furious and rageful and all the things. And also, I think that's what we're supposed to be doing. Like, we are supposed to be right now. I mean, if you just look at the astrology, we're supposed to be on this roller coaster, right? And when we don't try and wrangle it and control it, and we're falling off sideways on the horse, like, when we don't try and make it into something, which is what society tells us we're supposed to do is we're supposed to gather some control through being professional and responsible and all that other bullshit. And when we just allow it to happen, then really beautiful action takes place, right? Really gorgeous, amazing things can happen when we don't try and control and wrangle what's happening. And that helps us navigate the darkness, forward out of darkness, forward into light. Like you can't have one without the other. They, either the light's on or the light's off. Either it's light or it's dark, right? Like can't have one without the other. And I just think we have just this great opportunity to be like, all right, well, I'm here for some reason. And maybe the only reason that you're here is just to get through the day or the hour or the minute. And maybe the reason you're here is to create radical, beautiful, amazing art. Like, I don't know. I don't sing well, but I love to sing.
Well, and that's what it's about, is what we love to do and be,
Yeah.
instead of doing what we think we have to do because of
Yes.
these limiting systems that try to put us in boxes to prop up white supremacist culture. Like that's what it is. That is all it is.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And when we can start to unhook from that and get back into the soul expression, it makes this, I call it the shadow light dance. And I think it's so funny because music is like literally putting light, shadow, and dance in the same lines for me right now. And I'm like, oh yeah, the magic is magicking. But that's the human experience, is this like slip and slide in and out of the shadow and the light. And as soon as like, oh, this is literally how it's going to work. There is no escaping this. There is no transcending or ascending above it.
No.
So how do I have the most enjoyment and fun and play and curiosity and feel the feelings on all ends of the slip and slide spectrum? And that's where in the shadow, and in the space that we are right now, we're being invited to imagine without control, without gripping. Just imagine what's possible. And if we're always trying to control and we're always trying to steer towards a specific outcome, there's no room for that imagining. And if there's no room for imagining, there's no room for breaking out of those limiting systems that we have all thought we have to be subjected to.
Yeah.
I know you and I, oh, go ahead.
No, what popped into my head is that when you were talking about the music in particular, is I've been listening to the soundtrack to The Crow.
Oh my gosh.
In my high school days, okay?
Yes.
And my son, Sean, was like, what is this? And I'm like, dude, this is magic.
I'm going to go listen to that after this again.
This is the best soundtrack ever, dude. And he's like, wow, like, this is amazing. And I told him the whole story of, the death on set and, like that it comes with all this other stuff. So that popped into my head when you were talking about music. I was like, oh God, yes. Like the darkness and the intensity and anyway, go listen to The Crow.
And music is a great way to imagine through the shadow. Like music gets us into it.
But the other thing I was thinking about, it's so fun. It's become so, I don't know, like I learned this 10 years ago when I was very first, maybe even longer than that. I don't know. It has to have been longer because I was working with Regina and Christina. So it has to have been like 2011, I think, is when I learned about the shitty shoulds. And I took the shitty shoulds into a lot of my work when I was working one-on-one with people a lot. And I actually had this client once who I had told her to write down her list of shitty shoulds on a piece of paper and tear it into tiny pieces and flush it down the toilet because that's where shit goes. And she was like, I'm writing it on toilet paper. I was like, even better. Like, take it and run with it. Like, whatever you need to do. And I just keep thinking about the responsibility of the shoulds. Like, how has it been 15 years since I even learned that concept? And people are still wrestling with that. Like, I think that this takedown of white supremacist patriarchal bullshit, like it took us as a nation, it took us 500 years to get here. It's going to take some time. It might not be in my lifetime. Like, and I'm fine with that. Like, but at least I'm doing my thing to move it along, right? To disrupt it, to dismantle it, to blow it up, to do whatever it is that I'm going to do here. And I think that's what I want people who listen to this to hear. Like, it doesn't have to be radical acts of being visible all the time. Sometimes The graceful revolution is the internal act, the personal act, the act that only your people witness or only you bear witness to, that actually creates the change and the ripple in the creativity timeline to make the next best thing happen.
Mm.
And it took me a long time to get there. And I actually think being a parent really helped me with that, because like sometimes the best thing that happens in a day is literally you got to take a shower without anybody walking into the bathroom. And I think for a lot of people, like we have to simplify it so that our imagination can run with whatever it is.
Well, and
It's
simplifying. Yeah, simplifying comes to allowing enough stillness, and I've been reflecting a lot lately on how much it's easy to get caught up in consumption these days
Mhm.
because our phones are so addictive. Friends, I am with you. Our phones are so addictive. There's no shame in it. It
They're
is like,
created that way.
yes, they're created that way, and it's a biological thing that is
Mhm,
happening,
mhm,
which is why my number one tip to everyone is to get a blue light filter for the evening. But anyway, we consume so much
mhm,
because that's the system that we're in, that like breaking free to create more is so radical right now, and it feels so good. And so I wanted to talk about the creativity timeline,
mhm,
because it's really hard to be creative if we're locked in, like locked in consumption.
mhm,
It's, and we need to consume some, right? That's where inspiration comes from, and sustenance and nourishment comes from. But when we overconsume, we get that like almost dizzy heaviness, like the disorientation of like what's mine and what's mine to do. So I love this idea of contributing more to the creativity timeline, because that is how we collectively shift things. As I was saying earlier, I think that that's why I'm a huge fan of video games. Video games are like a creative way to get your frustrations worked out. If you have some rage and you go play Call of Duty and you don't take that out on an actual other human being, great, right? If we express our rage in art, speeches, podcasts, literally whatever form of creativity, we don't have to go take it out on another human. We're expressing it, we're alchemizing it, we're working with it. And so if more and more people like we're actually able to lean onto creativity as an outlet
mhm.
instead of bottling shit up,
Yeah.
or what men have unfortunately been taught, which is that it's okay to take that out on your family or your partner or your person as an outlet, like that's your outlet of expression and that's your only outlet of expression. And that's not healthy either. So how do we do more of this creativity timeline stuff?
Well, I think we have to look at what we're consuming. So if what we're like it's raining like hell here today, right? So if I can consume, I can get locked into the phone and the video games on my phone. Like, okay, they're not video games. It's like Candy Crush and shit, right? But like, I don't do video games. That's not my
No,
jam.
I'm talking narrative rich novel in a game form.
No, not my jam. Everyone else in my family, that's their jam, but me. But if I'm like, so like I've really been in the rain today. Like I've been sitting outside, listening to it, absorbing it. I've been consuming it, right? Like I've just been really letting the noises of it wash through me. Um, and really thinking about what it is bringing, right? Like, um, and so I think it's all about what we are consuming. And I've had to be back on social media because of my congressional campaign. And I catch myself often picking up my phone for no good damn reason except for I want to see what people are saying about me, right? And so I have had to stop myself several times, especially over the last week, um, because I'm getting more and more visible. So I want to know what's going on. I've had to stop myself several times and be like, read a book. Missy Bird, pick up your book and read your book. Like I finished a book I've been trying to finish for months. It was about the doctrine of discovery. So it was very heavy. So it took me a long time to get through it. I finished it. I started a novel. It's delightful. Um, happened to open the novel, which is signed by the author to me, that said, "You're giving us hope." And I hadn't opened it. And so I didn't know what it said. And so when I opened it, I was like, oh, thanks for the messages, universe, right? Like, so like, I think it depends on what we're consuming. And if what we're consuming is serving as a distraction from the soul calling and our purpose and why we're here, then we have to ask ourselves, why am I allowing myself to get distracted by that? What am I avoiding? What am I why don't I want to engage in my calling? What am I afraid of? What am I worried about? What am I predicting is going to happen that really probably won't happen, right? And and how can we also consume more laughter and more joy in those things, right? Like in these things, my, my sister was like, do you want to hear a joke about Beethoven? And Sean immediately, we were all sitting on the couch together, and Sean looks over at her and goes, that's going to be really hard to hear.
Oh, wow.
I like was like, oh, you dad joke that one. I was dying laughing. And the joke is hilarious. But I was like, had I been distracted with something else, I wouldn't have noticed Sean's very pithy comeback.
Yes.
It was so funny. I was dying laughing. And so we have to notice that we have to either create those moments of laughter and joy or notice when they occur because they're all around us all the time. And I think that is the opening of the creativity timeline. Like there's so many different ways to do this. Y'all like
Yes.
I don't have all the damn answers for what's going to work for you as you're listening to this or watching this. Like I don't know, okay? Like I have some ideas, but I don't know. Like last night I was at a house party for my congressional campaign and we started talking. Someone asked me like, how are you going to decompress? And I was like, well, I make needle felted spirit dolls, so I anticipated having a needle felted kit on my fucking desk so that I could stab things over and over and over again. Like that works for me. And
Yep.
also I make something really beautiful from it. So, like Safrianna, we're not going to have all the answers for people. We have lots of ideas. And I know what works for me doesn't work for everybody. You talked about downtime, quiet time. Like my quiet time is often filled with heavy metal music.
Yeah.
Often. Like that's how I get quiet. And people are like, "What?" And I'm like, I joke all the time. I think I've even written about this before. Like I meditate to Metallica.
Yeah, I think I have it in one of your interviews, actually.
Yeah. Like I meditate to Metallica. I just don't get quiet. But I do have very, very deep moments of peace and quiet. And also, right? Like I just want people to hear this conversation with you and me and go, oh, it's a both and scenario. It's not either or.
Right. There is never a one size fits all. And so two things I want to go back to. One is the stillness. We need just enough stillness to hear the moment of laughter to pick up on the joke because we're not buried in our phone, right? So stillness is a big part of this. Be still enough to go, "Oh, I like that." And then
Still enough to be present.
yeah, and to be
Yeah.
able to follow the threads that are coming for you. And the other thing is the guru chasing. I think that this is something that is so, and again it goes back to what we've already talked about, white supremacy and these systems that try to basically determine exactly how you're going to be so you can be sold to, manipulated, etc. But gurus, anybody who is trying to sell you, this is how to do it, this is the way that you need to be creative, this is the way to be spiritual, this is the way to do this, is scamming you, and you should run the other way.
And you know what the worst part is, Safrianna? Most of us are taught that way.
Yeah.
And it makes me so mad because undoing that shit has been really, really a pain in my ass.
It's such a pain in the ass. I'm right there with you. It's such a pain in the ass. And this is the big work.
You have to have a sales funnel and a shit and this and a 5-step plan for blah, blah, blah. Fucking 7 steps towards.
Yeah. It's exhausting. All of the.
Undoing it, like running a business and undoing that at the same time is such a pain in the ass.
It truly is, and I can't help but
God.
think about the devil card in the tarot because that came through it has been coming through for me left and right. I've drawn it so many times.
Girl.
This last week, it was one of your favorite tarot readers, astrologers also drew the devil for this eclipse that we just had. Like, it's been the
God, it's
gauntlet.
showing up this week.
It really is. And the devil card, if you're not familiar, because a lot of people, they see tarot and they're like, oh no, literally, it's devil worship. And then they see the devil card and they're like, this is proof. Ah, no, the devil card is self made prisons. And that's exactly where we are as a collective. And that was me sitting on the bed the other day going, if I don't start writing, because I've drawn a prison around myself about it, right? If I don't start writing, I'm not going to get to go where I want to go. But who's telling me I can't write? Me, self made prison. That's what the devil card is all about. The lock is unlocked. You just have to open the damn door and start walking down the path that you want. So, how do you want to express yourself? And as Dr. Bird was saying, there's no one way. We've got suggestions: writing, painting, walking, cooking, gardening, playing with your pets. Like,
I'll tell you how I opened a door last week. I was driving to Eugene on the freeway and it was raining. And I started screaming at the top of my lungs, God, please help me. Over and I was screaming. I scratched my throat. I was screaming so loud. And I was like, because I was just done. I was at the end, my friend. I was done. And I just started screaming, God, please help me. I was like, that's the only thing I could think to do. And of course, whatever it did inside of me, whatever I needed to rip open, ripped open.
mm-hmm.
And I think it's so like what you're saying about these self-made prisons. I truly believe that's what we're just completely dismantling right now. As you know, I keep thinking, I'm listening to all these podcasts about menopausal women, right? Because I'm a menopausal woman, right? Well, I've been in menopause forever because I had a hysterectomy, but that's another story. That's another podcast. But I'm listening to these women who are my age. I'm 51, turning 52 in October. I'm listening to these women talk, and I'm like, oh, like this is why this rip is happening right now, because all of us who were born in the 70s are done. And I'm like, oh, we joke and see all the reels about the latchkey kids of the 80s, right? But seriously thinking about how the hormones have transitioned for every single person who's in their 50s right now. And I'm all, oh, this is so good. Don't mess. Y'all don't want to mess.
But y'all messing is the real truth right
And now
now.
we're all running for office and leading revolutions and writing books and talking openly about hating everybody. And woo!
It's a lot to hold. And I am so grateful right now to have my creativity, because
Mm.
one of the greatest assets I've realized that I have is the power of writing a story and creating characters to process my bullshit.
Oh God.
I'm already like, because I have a very clear self-insert character in my most recent novel. We all have them, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I can't wait to absolutely just tear him apart in book 2 when we dive into this shadow I'm now confronting in my world. Like, it becomes fun. It
Yeah.
becomes hilarious. I'm reading my horoscope this morning and it is brutalizing me. Like, and I'm giggling. I'm like, oh, I love it. Because that, to me, I've learned the shadow light dance
Yeah.
shit. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, we're going to rock bottom. We're going to be a little depressed today. And that's okay. What does that part of me need?
Yeah.
What does the shadow that's arising need for me? And how do I creatively meet it and just play and get so curious instead of critical and uptight and controlling?
Yeah.
Boy, if that isn't the part of me I'm confronting right now, is my damn need for control.
Yeah. We don't have that. It's not real.
Yeah. We have no control. So how do we, again, have fun on this eternal slip and slide of the infinity loop around the shadow light dance?
Well, and I keep thinking about, like, when you were just talking just now, I was thinking about, so I'm a very deeply avid reader. Like, that is my total jam. And I would just like to express my bitterness and anger to any of, like, there was a whole thing that was coming out, I think just during the pandemic or right after, about how women who are avid readers did it to escape trauma. And I'm all, no, I did it because I love it. Okay. So let's not pathologize the fact that I used to be able to read a book every 2 days when I was younger because I had nothing else going on. So I was just reading all the time.
Yeah.
That doesn't make me pathologize. I have trauma, but that don't pathologize my joy. Why do people try and pathologize our joy?
Well, they try to pathologize.
But wait, hold on. I don't want to get distracted from this because it's important. Okay.
Yes,
I'm
go.
just so fucking tired of this. But I was thinking, I had this vision come in when you were talking about the darkness of when I was little. So I always had permission to go to bed reading, right? Like my mom was like, you can always go to sleep reading, right? And I would pull the covers over my head and turn on a flashlight and read to myself until I get so hot until I couldn't breathe anymore. And then I'd like open the window of the blankies and like, keep reading. And I would read all night long sometimes. Like they're still to this day, I will stay up reading all night long if it's good. If it's good, I'll do it. Now I pay for it because I'm 51 years old. And now it's like, oh
Yeah.
do that. But like just the idea of also, even in the darkest places, there's always a little flashlight. There's always just a little tiny bit of light to remind us that we're still here, that we are still present. As long as we are breathing, there is an opportunity for even the tiniest sliver of light to come through. And as long as that happens, as long as our heart is still beating and our breath is still breathing, and isn't it amazing and beautiful and wonderful that we don't have to tell it to do that? Like we don't wake up in the morning and go, okay, heart, now you can start beating. Like it just does it all the time, even when we're asleep. It's bananas. Like, how does that happen? How do our neurons keep firing even when we're not paying attention? It's amazing, right? And so I just want people to remember that even in the darkest moments, there's always, and it has been like this since people became people, there's always light.
Oh. I think that might be the episode. I think that might be it.
You want me to drop my mic?
Yes.
Make a noise?
No, not that. That we don't want to upset the audio engineers.
The audio engineer's name is Safrianna.
So, gosh, thank you for this conversation. We have to have fun. And I know I preach all of this all the time, but it's also good to just be in conversation and remember it in myself and to help other people remember it in themselves. And I couldn't help but just think about how my characters in my novels are all just beautiful idiots, just like all of us humans. And I love that they are in the depths of despair in their storyline, in their timeline, because shit's hitting the fan all too similarly to what's happening right now. And it's dark, and I still have moments where I giggle, and they giggle, and they flirt, and they play. And that's what we're here to remind people to do.
As long as people are on the planet, we're still going to keep doing that shit, man.
Yeah.
It's great.
So yes, let's pull some cards because that's what we do.
Let's do it.
We love to do it. And we will see what final messages are here for this beautiful episode on imagining our way through the darkness.
Hold on, I got one more shuffle.
Yeah.
I'm doing the big living altar cards, so they're like. So I'm like 5'8", right? And I have my hands are bigger than my husband's hands, and
damn,
the deck is huge.
That is a big deck.
It's gigantic.
Oh,
everybody just gets the biggest joy out of this episode. I hope people actually listen to it all the way through. I'm gonna tell them when we post it. I'm gonna be like, listen, all the way through. Don't miss it. Because it got bad at the end.
Well, I'm giggling over here that I pulled a sword card. Winky, winky. Not tarot. It's a totally different deck.
Oh, okay. I'm like, God, really? But then you're winky winky with
Winky,
the sword and
winky.
the big deck.
What you got over there?
I have transformation.
Phew, tell me about it.
Yeah. It's a really good card. I'm trying to look for the actual. Let's see, what part of the deck is it in? It's hard to find it sometimes. Here we go. Okay, so Living Altar. Really great deck. Here we go. Here's the spell. We walk through the sacred fires and trust in the power of our own metamorphosis. The flames refine us and simultaneously burn away all untruths and gross injustices. All that remains is the core of our exalted essence. Stand strong with your gaze upon your future goals, allowing your visions to unfold, trusting the destination, but not to spite the road before us. Bring forth the sacrificial lamb, those secret stories we tell ourselves as weights upon our character. Offer yourself to yourself. What will you lay bare within the terror of your honesty? That's my favorite question of every card in this deck. What will you lay bare within the terror of your honesty? What sacrifice do you offer the old gods within you? With perfect love, give them all of you.
Wow. Transformation.
Well, if that wasn't the conversation we just had, I don't know what is.
Yeah, and this fire energy, right? This fire of inspiration and spirit moving through us and expression and all of it. And my card is the Sword of Light. And this is from the Gateway of Light Activation Oracle. This is a literal fiery sword of light. It is beaming and brilliant. And this represents divine protection and cutting cords or breaking through old ties. And so same storyline here. We are not rising above our humanity. We are stepping more and more into what humanity actually is, what it actually means to be here, to be present, to be alive. We are ascending into a next level, but it's not ascending above humanity. It is being more deeply who we came here to be. And so, yes, brilliant, beautiful.
Brilliant, beautiful.
No more words.
No notes, as the kids say.
No notes. That's, yeah, it's this timeline we are on right now is brimming with potential, and may you find the creative potential to move it in the direction you want to go and not the way that you thought it once had to be and should be based on them shitty shoulds.
Yeah, and go play with your imagination. Just imagine it all.
All right. Well, thank you as always, Dr. Melissa Bird, PhD, for our beautiful conversations.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you. And to everyone watching or listening, we love you so much. We are cheering you on in this fun human timeline. And just as an FYI, Dr. Bird and I do a lot of amazing things together. So don't hesitate to look on our various websites, see the things we do individually and or together, and come play with us wherever you feel called. We are here for you. So
it's really
fun. Lots and lots of fun. Oh, all right. Well, until next time, my friends, I am Safrianna Luna, and this has been another episode of The Shadow Side. Bye for now.
Bye.